Ladies and gentlemen, this is JoeJinMovieSoAwesome. I'm Joe.
I'm Won-Jin.
Today we are going to talk about Loki Season 2, the whole season, episode 1 to 6. Full spoilers ahead, you have been warned.
Yeah, spoilers for both Season 1 and 2.
And before we begin, I would like to tell our loyal subscribers that we usually start our broadcast around 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. KST. That's Seoul time, KST, Korea Standard Time, which is same as Tokyo time, Japan time. So Saturday, 7 p.m., between 7 p.m. or 8 p.m., that's when we start. Just a heads up. Here we go. So Loki Season 2. Wow. I mean, let me go first. Like Won-Jin,
okay.
My expectations for Marvel movies or TV series is so low that I came in thinking that this is going to be a subpar season to Season 1. But I gotta say, it almost felt like they planned Season 2 out when they were writing Season 1.
Yeah, I was feeling the same thing.
Yeah.
Because there's a part in the last episode where they return to the end of Season 1.
Mm-hmm. Or, I mean, it's like a part 1 and part 2, really. It almost felt like a movie, like a long movie.
Mm-hmm.
The quality was amazing,
yeah.
like CG-wise. And the tone was really surprising too. Like, I thought Season 1 was pretty dark.
Yeah.
But still like Disney and Marvel dark. But this one was dark, man. Like the horror elements throughout the episodes were really, really great. And the pacing was amazing too.
Yeah.
I think pacing wise, Season 2 even beat Season 1. There's like no boring moment. Because I think one of the great plot device was the Loom. So it's like already a time clock. There's already a huge conflict that the whole story has to resolve. But there are also many conflicts that drive the thing going. And again, the star is Loki. Loki's relationship with Mobius and Sylvie was really great. Really great. And overall, like, I gotta say, out of all the Marvel TVs and shows, I only watched this once, so I can't make a final verdict, but it goes into my top 10. Like, this season especially. What a goddamn thriller ride. Like, it was like, there were so many funny moments, so many, like, terrifying moments, so many joyful moments, and the ending was fucking perfect. Like, usually great shows have poor endings, right?
Yeah. And I think it's also because the pressure is mounting, and writers kind of...
Are you talking about the whole Marvel situation?
Well, not just Marvel, but also, other shows that were...
Oh, hey, Zed!
That were criticized,
hey,
like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So usually, as a show gets great reception and it's headed towards the end, writers are usually under tremendous pressure.
Oh, so that actually puts our point to... Like, it puts on point where I don't think there's gonna be a Season 3, man. I think Loki's gonna like start to star in other movies.
Yeah,
like that's the feeling I got because the finale, it definitely felt like conclusive, like unlike Season 1, where this one it was a perfect ending, and it was beautiful. Let's talk about that. Hey, you want to talk about the important thing first, or
well? I gotta share my thoughts on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I agree with you. It was a great show, but when we started the series Loki, it was kind of refreshing because we saw sides of Loki that we did not know before. And when you watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like Thor and the Avengers, Loki, in my opinion, was kind of like a plot device. He was being used to tell Thor's story, not like a story of his own. So Season 1 was very interesting because we got to see this character arc that we did not expect to see from Loki. And Season 2, I gotta say, wow, like my favorite thing about this entire season of Loki is that unlike other Marvel series where these TV spin-offs kind of exist as like stepping stones to like the next Marvel Cinematic Universe piece or other TV series. There's none of that. I mean, maybe there is, but it's not as like obvious as the other shows. And it didn't have any like surprise cameos of like, you know, other characters of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Loki is complete as itself. That's my favorite thing about this series after finishing season 2. So it does not need anything else. The 2 seasons of Loki was really about Loki. And it creates this complete character arc. That was my favorite thing about this after watching the last episode of season 2.
I mean, I agree. Like, there were some like Marvel nuggets, but besides Loki, who's actually like almost you can argue that he's a new iteration of the Loki we know. They have similarities, but this one has a more of a complete arc, and the cast were all new, and the new casts were really great, especially Mobius.
Yeah, and even, you know, like a virtual one like Miss Minutes.
Oh yeah, Miss Minutes. Miss Minutes was also good. Renslayer, I was I gotta be honest, a little bit disappointed. I thought she was gonna have more stories, but I felt like season two was good. But I felt her arc was the weakest out of all of them.
You know, I think in the future Marvel Cinematic Universe where they have this eventual like war between multiverses, maybe we will see her again.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Hey, let's talk about that. That's a huge problem too, though. Like the problem I have is, you know, the worst part about Transformers 2 for me was when Megatron revived. I was like, oh, so anybody can revive now, huh?
Yeah. Well, that and also like him being a bitch after being revived. Yeah. It's like Fallen shows up and he's like,
yeah, that's true. I agree. But the point I was trying to make was like, this is why this show was great, because in a show where there's a multiverse, it came up with a crisis that was definitely, it felt like something was at stake here. You know, and that's what I loved about it, you know, because Loki and his crew are dealing with like impossible like moral dilemmas. You know, I really, and I gotta be honest, like, because remember last time we talked about this, they kept mentioning God, right? So I thought Loki would do something, except I did not fucking expect him to turn into some kind of Yggdrasil. Like, is he supposed to be like a god of time now?
That was pretty interesting because, you know, after he bound all those timelines and the camera zooms out, it really does look like Yggdrasil.
Yeah.
Which is like what, the tree of life?
Yeah, in Norse mythology.
I mean, the Scandinavian mythology.
Yeah.
And this is a huge step from the Loki that we knew from Thor, because he was god of mischief.
Yeah.
But now he's what, like god of time?
Yeah, I think he's
like
a time god, or at least god of the multiverse.
Yeah,
because he's a god. Like, imagine him going like, "Achoo!"
and billions die.
He flicks his hand, and like the whole branch starts to die. He's like, "Oh fuck!" And then the good thing is there's no witness, so he's the only one. So he's like, and then you know. But that being said, like, you know, this is one of those shows where it's still fiction. By the way, I did some have like questions about whether this was a real representation of like time scientific wise, but I'm not a scientist, I'm just a regular audience. But the show was done a sufficient job of making it make sense within the movie logic.
Yeah.
But mix that together with incredible emotion. Like the finale was like one of the best episodes of TV I ever saw. The moment it started, the comedy centuries later where like he learns like all about
science and physics and all that shit.
Because if you think about it, Ouroboros is almost immortal, so he has every knowledge of physics and whatever. And then Loki actually learned that shit. And
well, let's dive into that part because I really enjoyed that part.
Yeah, Kronos.
I mean, I do, however, wish if they had just one more episode, actually show us him learning through centuries. I mean, absorbing all that knowledge after like centuries and centuries. But that episode reminded me a lot of that old comedy movie with Bill Murray called Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
Where like the day repeats and repeats.
He's a
and
god.
repeats, and then he eventually kind of like, instead of wasting all that time away, he kind of like develops himself. He learns how to play the piano and blah 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 blah. He becomes a charming person, and then he meets real love. And also that movie called The Edge of Tomorrow, where Tom Cruise has to repeat the same day over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So this movie kind of had that element of the same thing repeating over and over, and with that time you kind of like absorb knowledge that you never could have imagined. It also had a lot of this like Dragon Ball vibe. I mean, that's exactly what you would see from a cartoon. I mean, this is based on the comic book, so
no, but Loki's power is more powerful than theirs because like his teleportation starts off as like the conventional teleportation we know, where he when he goes to time, he sees another version of him. But it's something, I mean, I think other series have done this before, but his time travel later is incredibly powerful because all he's doing is he's moving his consciousness back to time. And that's incredibly powerful. Like, he can't die. And he can freeze time.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Like, one of my favorite scene was when him and Kang do their back and forth. And I was honestly cheering for Loki. I was like, please slap that smug motherfucker. and then it was a greatly written scene because I want your interpretation. I thought when Loki said I'm gonna make my own equation, I thought Kang was a little bit shook there. He was shook. He was trying to talk him out of it. But I love it when and it was done so well. Because you know why it was done so well? Like when he said I was gonna, change the equation. I was like, oh, fuck this. Is this one of those is it gonna be like some kind of ex machina, like something? And then
like in the end of Matrix 2, where he like revives Trinity with the power of love. It's like
But here they did such a they gave us like hints really well. Yeah, he is a god. If you really think about it, it always made sense for him to go out. And then I love amazing camera work, by the way. Like this camera, I don't know who was in charge, but knows when to close up. And then like that beautiful scene where Loki comes up and says, now I know what kind of god I want to be. And then like directly there's Mobius and Sylvie, his best friend and his lover respectively. And then he just goes in like a boss. Yeah,
and I love that touch because up until like midway of the last episode, we see Loki, having all the knowledge of what was going to happen and everything, but yet he still lets Victor go outside. Basically, he doesn't want to... we speculated that maybe Loki will be the one heading out, but he wasn't. He was telling Victor... He was still giving instructions to Victor so that he can go out. But I think the arc is... His character arc is completed when he decides to go out on their own because he's not willing to risk anybody else's life. And basically, by walking out there, he's trying to save everybody. He's trying to save not only Mobius and Sylvie, but, after Sylvie implored that...
So it's his like redemption moment.
Yeah, it's his redemption. And it's like a great contrast from what we saw in the first episode of season 1, where he is still this very selfish Loki.
It's like what Thor went through on Earth in the first movie.
Yeah, because like brother, kill me instead. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, Thor learned from his very very hypocritical father who conquered worlds and then drew a mural over it and had a secret daughter who's crazy. But let's ignore all that. But like Thor was definitely learning about selflessness as the ruler, and here Loki is truly selfless for the first time because one of the great thing about season 2 was it's like almost like a reverse graph where season 1 is Loki's fall. He keeps falling down. He meets Sylvie, who's like basically a better version than you. And then like he learned so many. And at the end, he fucking fails. So this one, he's starting to go up. And I loved how like one of the most beautiful scene was the bar scene too, where Loki says, like, talk to Sylvie, right? Just after the accident of the Loom exploding, he's like, he's honest with himself. I don't want to be alone. I'm doing this for me too. And then Sylvie is the one to. I mean, Sylvie is a weird character if you think about it, because she's you. So it's like you talking to you. Like I like that aspect, and I like how the show didn't like try to overhype that.
Yeah.
But it's there because you're basically having a conversation with yourself, and I love Loki gaining self knowledge. You know, and finally when he steps out, the moment is quote unquote glorious, and it's gonna be a burden.
Yeah.
Because like even the scene is really well because every step is heavy. It reminded me a lot of World of Warcraft, where like the Lich King has to always have like there needs to be someone who's wearing that.
So like literally, the entire world weighs upon his shoulders.
Yeah.
And there's also some great lines in the last episode. You know, when Kang is having that conversation with Loki, he says that I make the tough decisions. That's why I get the big chair.
Yeah.
So we see in the end that Loki makes the tough decision, and he gets to be on that chair. And I love the fact that the throne is being covered in gold as he approaches it.
Yeah.
Like a boss he is. And another thing I like about this entire series is that it takes quite an interesting variation of the hero's journey. You know how like the hero's journey always like goes to the new world, and then you go through an ordeal, and then you almost face death, and then you revive, and then you become a better version of yourself. And what Loki does is he already goes through that cycle. He is the better version, and then he goes through another ordeal, and then he becomes even greater.
I don't understand.
So it takes 2 cycles of the hero's journey. Because
are you including season 1?
Yeah, I'm including season 1. So I especially love the moment where he spends centuries learning about the science and the physics, and spending countless hours trying to avoid the apocalypse. He basically in the end kind of becomes like this like literally he is a god, but knowledge wise he also kind of becomes a god.
Yeah.
Because he knows everything about the universe by then.
Yeah, that's a great point, because that did raise me a lot of questions. This is what I'm thinking, Won-Jin. He's still there, but I believe that he can move his consciousness around. He's going to be some kind of like Professor X on steroids. Because like he's all-knowing.
Oh, that's right. You know, he can make avatars of himself.
Yeah, he's all-knowing. Like, imagine like... Like, first of all, you're gonna teleport, like, because I just thought that him holding here, because every branch will have a Loki, and therefore he can conscious jump to all of them, or not. Maybe his story belongs to the sacred timeline, and that timeline where that sacred timeline is broken, and the TV exists as like a Kang catching entity, I guess now. So like that I think it definitely opens a lot of interesting doors. But also I love the design, his costume design too, because his horn.
In the last moment where he's approaching the Loom, that reminded me a lot of Hellboy, by the way. You know, like he has that horn cut off, but eventually he grows it back. Yeah.
But here there's golden cracks. But if anybody played Elden Ring, like it's a huge Japanese theme of like fixing things, and like the gold line appears. The Elden Ring game has a lot of that, and it reminded me a lot of that. And I like how I also I wish Sylvie's storyline was a little better too, though.
Yeah, I mean, compared to season 1, I have to admit, like you say, that she's a bit flat in this one. And I also got kind of annoyed because Sylvie knows that all the world's gonna end if she just keeps killing, what's his name? He Who Remains, Kang. Yet she insists on killing him. So it's like it's almost impossible to persuade her. How fucking selfish is that?
Really? I disagree, man. Because like you have to remember, she's also almost like immortal.
Yeah, but I mean, she's aware because Loki probably told her.
No, but for her, it's always the first time.
I mean, remember, but
Okay.
he can explain it.
Right.
And I'm guessing there are only two options. You either let him live and make sure that like some people stay alive, or everybody dies.
No, but here's the thing, Won-Jin. I always felt Sylvie was a stronger version of Loki because she has something Loki. Remember in First Avenger, that agent that dies, before he dies, he tells Loki,
Oh, Agent Coulson.
yeah, you lack conviction.
Mm.
He was absolutely right.
Mm.
And here, Sylvie, like, I felt like Sylvie,
She's full of conviction.
yeah.
Mm.
And she even explains that later.
Mm.
She tells Loki that I've seen thousands of apocalypses,
Mm-hmm.
and then
And some things are worth being
Destroyed.
Yeah. Some things are okay.
yeah. So, like, for her, like, I think she has a complete moral conviction.
Mm.
And who the fuck is Loki to judge that when he doesn't even know him fucking self, like Mobius tells him? So I know what you're trying to say, but I felt like season 1 convinced us enough of that. But for me, like, the problem with season 2 was it didn't give her enough to do. I thought she would like do active, like I thought it would be more like a Loki and Sylvie team.
Yeah. And the only part where they were actually teaming up was, I think, in the second episode or something.
Yeah,
when they were like going up
Yeah.
against General Dox.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. We
Yeah.
don't see much of Sylvie because Sylvie's powers were very important in the first season.
Yeah.
Especially reaching the end of time to get past Alioth.
Yeah.
Was it that monster?
Yeah. Didn't she sleep him?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, so I honestly thought she was gonna do more, but I don't know. Maybe she'll appear in another movie, I guess. But I was like, because she was one of the best parts of season 1.
Yeah.
So I just felt like season 2, maybe add a scene or two more with her. Maybe even add more dramatic thing. Because even Mobius stuff, I was like the camera kept on going on Mobius, right? And then, like, Sylvie's hand just appears, pat as she goes. I was like, okay, I also want to know where Sylvie is going too, But
going back to McDonald's?
yeah, but I guess the writers had to choose because she's not the only victim here. I guess Renslayer, because I thought Sylvie was done better than Renslayer for me, I guess. But
Yeah.
Renslayer was kind of like, she was there. I guess she was gone. And
I'm not sure if they should have shown us like what happened to Renslayer. I think
No.
it might have been better off not showing.
I don't think she dies though. Do you think she died?
I think they kind of hint that Alioth is approaching her, but we're not really sure.
Maybe she can control him or something. Oh, because it'll be funny if Elioth like comes up here and says, "Mama," because
Remember, I mean, she's been with Kang for a long time. She was probably part of making that thing.
Yeah,
And then like it's like hidden somewhere in her memory.
yeah.
That Alioth remembers.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. And another highlight was, I think you mentioned it first, Miss Minutes. Miss Minute was she was a scene stealer for the first half, and then she gets fucked off, and that was funny too.
I loved her exit. We mentioned this last time. Oh, there's
Yeah,
something
you
I
did.
need to tell you. You'll never be him.
Yeah,
That was
Wow.
some like horror movie shit.
Yeah. But the good thing is, from the ending, we know that Victor Timely won't become He Who Remains because the book is never thrown inside.
Yeah.
So I like that.
But, we learned from the last episode that the time slipping was like a device that it was basically all part of Kang's plan. Like he kind of expected this to happen, and he knew that Loki would come back to stop Sylvie from killing him. So if he's capable of doing that, I'm pretty sure that there's some like secret code written within Miss Minutes, and I'm pretty sure she's gonna cause trouble again. Because the fact that they ask if it's okay to use Miss Minutes is already kind of like a foreshadow. Something's gonna go wrong.
Maybe if there is a Loki season 3 or she appears in a movie, right? Because the interesting thing is, like, when they say Kang variants, I'm thinking like, how different are they individually though? Because I feel like there might be a He Who Remains, a version of He Who Remains Kang that did a little bit something else. So there's a lot of possibilities there.
Yeah, also in a different timeline. Because
Yeah.
Victor Timely was way ahead of his time, and he just did not have the appropriate materials and knowledge to become he who remains yet. But other variants could be living in the future, living in the present. They have a lot more options. And I also have to mention, like Victor Timely getting repeatedly killed. That was quite funny.
That was really funny.
Because, it was funny because it also has a contrast from the previous episode. That was terrifying.
Yeah, episode 4.
Yeah. Oh, was it episode 4?
Yeah.
That was terrifying when he just spaghettified.
Yeah.
And then he just vanishes with that scream. But in this case, because it happens so often, it starts to get funny. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. That was a great comedy scene. And what I liked about that Victor Timely character is that, it kind of proves Sylvie's point. We can choose our own destiny because he doesn't seem like a bad person. Like everything he does. And so I thought the ending was really beautiful that way, where, he's just a little boy testing out, but he doesn't get the TVA. So he's, at worst, he's just going to be a really interesting character during the 19th century. Or not. Maybe he turns into something else.
Just like Dr. Haber, he makes this... I made something for the Germans called the Zyklon B.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know. That's true. But Mobius's ending was... Mobius also had a really great arc, though.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, Sylvie, when she returned, she asked Mobius, aren't you, curious about your, actual real life? And he pretends he doesn't, but he ends up longing for it, and he returns to it. And B-15 said you can come back anytime, so I feel like he's gonna have a vacation there and then come back to the TVA
when something goes on. He's gonna return.
That was basically a huge hint because he's one of those. Mobius reminded me a lot of Gary Oldman's character in Dark Knight Rises.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, because Commissioner Gordon is amazing. The fact that he's a normal guy keeping calm among psychos. my best
from both sides.
Yeah, my best friend dresses up as a bat and beats criminals,
but he doesn't kill them.
Yeah, and the enemies I face are either hidden ninja clans or fucking psycho with paint on his face, or a terrorist organization who brings nuke to my city for some reason. But here, Mobius is always I love little details. He's hey, shall we go get some lemon cake? He's the guy that I feel like he can drink a cup of tea during a storm, and that's a great he was a great contrast to Loki, because Loki's always all over the place. There's shit going on, and just like Sylvie, fuck you. There are a lot of dramatic people here. No wonder he's from the Norse family. I think Odin is the calmest motherfucker out there, by the way. Even Thor was dramatic in the start.
Yeah.
So, but great details there. Oh man, I think this is one of those shows that I'm not gonna erase. I'm gonna watch it again. Better than season 1.
After finishing season 2, it made me want to rewatch season 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that means it's a good show.
Yeah, and Mobius, we like him because of his humanity, and that ending, near end scene was amazing when Loki goes ask him. And we finally get some...
Yeah, I loved when they were back in the time theater.
Yeah.
And like I said, now he's God, not only his background, but also in terms of knowledge and his wisdom.
Yeah.
I love how he already knew what was going to happen and get his cooperation.
No, because I would say, I know. But Mobius is a really empathetic person. As soon as he catches something like that, he... honestly talks about his past, where he had to prune a kid, but Renslayer, ruthless general that she is, does it, but it shows his humanity, and that's the kind of thing that it's almost like a father-son scene. It's Loki learning from Mobius, because technically Mobius could be 10,000 years old, which is much more older than Loki because he's a couple thousand years old. Remember, Odin said, "We are not gods." Didn't you just say you were gods during past movies? But anyway, so that was a really touching scene.
Yeah.
And Loki growing from his friend is just like his brother's arc. Thor learning from Earthlings. Who he thought basically were lower people.
Yeah.
And
Which is also part of like a classic hero's journey. You always meet your allies, your friends, your mentors along the way.
yeah. But anyway, we highly recommend this show. If you like, just like, this is a very, here's a great way to sum this series up. It was a very cinematic experience. It's like in the fact that there are a lot of great cinematic elements that work beautifully. And I forgot to mention OB. OB was a great character too.
Oh, that's right. And
Ouroboros.
also we love the actor. He did a great job in this.
You know what? He's amazing. He's a fucking engineer at TVA, but his real life, he's a science fiction writer. And I love how, like, he's like the same dude, basically. Like, Casey's a criminal, and then
he was like breaking out of Alcatraz.
Yeah, B-15 is like a doctor, but Ouroboros is like the same dude. It's like Kang was choosing his candidates, like, hey, okay, that dude, come over here. And that was really funny.
Okay. ZZ asks, who was your favorite character or characters and why?
You go first, man.
Well, my favorite character was Loki.
Okay.
All the time. Loki was my favorite. And I don't think there would be like a second favorite because, I mean, maybe Sylvie, but she was not as intriguing in the second season. But Loki always, I mean, the show's Loki. So he was my favorite character. And another one that was surprisingly likable was, like, just like we said, is OB. Because I like these nerdy characters, like geeks.
For me, besides Loki, I was Miss Minutes. I thought they were gonna do something more with her until she, and then I did like the new characters too, though, like Doc and that dude that's obsessed with his real life as a movie star.
Yeah, Brad.
Brad. But I don't know. They have to focus on Loki because Loki just has most to talk about.
Yeah,
because he also has a huge history, and I would say like Tom Hiddleston acted the fuck out of him. Like the acting was really great. The ending scene where Loki is burdened yet happy and looking directly at the camera, that was a great scene.
Oh, and I gotta mention another thing, because remember when you talked about the new equation, I thought that Loki kind of surpassed Kang in a way, because remember, Kang is a human and he's using science and technology to stop the time and everything. Loki can do it on his own. Yeah. So basically he has control over that time on his own without any external help. Yeah,
because that's when like Kang starts to be a little shook. Because and yeah, I know what you mean. But Kang, I just like, but you know, in Marvel movies, basically like it's like Thor said, what you call science is magic. So like there's really no boundary. Remember in like Quantum Mania, Kang just like erases people. So you know, but anyway, I know what you mean. I am excited. Hey, here's the thing. Here's a little problem I had though. I did feel like this is one of those seasons that I wanted an end credit scene.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing about Marvel these days is I think they're just testing the waters too much. I would like to know what's going to happen to Kang now too. Yeah. There's been like no news. Maybe the recent movie Marvels will have it, but I don't know. Because Jonathan Majors, what do you think about his acting? I thought his acting was amazing.
Yeah, because in this episode, he annoyed the shit out of me because of his arrogance. Yeah. If you're like angry, upset, or irritated of like a villain in a movie, the actor is doing a tremendous job. If you like really hate them. Yeah, but remember, he also played Victor Timely, was a likable dude. Yeah. Do you have a specific favorite episode? Last episode. Yeah. Besides the last episode, I also liked episode 4. Which one was that? That was the one where Renslayer gets pruned. And then finally, Victor Timely disappears, and the screen turns white as Loki says, "Oh fuck!" And then episode 5 is where he suddenly time slips out, and he's like, "What the fuck happened?" Besides the last episode, I mean, my favorite would be the last episode of the season. But besides that, my favorite one would be the one where they go to find Victor Timely.
Yeah, that was also
like the
great.
time traveling thing, because I like that.
Yeah, you like it's like
I mean, Back to the
it's in
Future.
It has a little bit like a happy time kind of vibe, right? And then I love the set design too.
Yeah.
I agree with you. That it was a great episode.
that episode also showed a lot of like characters of I mean, a lot of traits that we did not get to see from all these different characters. For example, Renslayer. We also get to see like a side that we did not know about Miss Minutes, how creepy she can get. So that was a fun episode. I also love the touch where when Miss Minutes goes back in time, she turns to that black and white clock.
Yeah.
That was a good detail.
It was a very creative episode, and this whole show flowed with a lot of creativity. The singular focus on a great story was great.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so up until the end, this season really delivered, and I was kind of concerned that they
you mean up to the end, right?
Yeah, up to the end. I thought they would just fumble the ball, but
this is the kind of trust we have.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta expect to be disappointed in order not to be disappointed.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So, but this really delivered. It was a great ending to this entire series, and I also gotta say that if they can write like future Marvel shows like this, I mean, there's no reason for them to be concerned about viewership. Remember, I mean, I already forgot what's it called, the Captain America and Falcon thing. With Falcon and Winter, I even forgot the name. Was it the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or Winter Soldier and the Falcon?
No, Captain
America and
Captain America and the Winter Soldier, man.
What was it?
You need to do better.
I mean, that was crap-o.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey. Let's.
That was very poorly written. I mean, guys. I mean, whoever's in charge in MCU, Loki should be like the yardstick for their future TV series.
Okay, let me play his devil advocate though. I agree with you that was garbage show, hot garbage. I think we bashed it on a Korean podcast together, but I mean, they can't all be home run picks, man. You know what I mean? I do. I just feel like it's really. Here's the problem here. I think they've done so much that it's really hard to beat themselves now.
Yeah.
You guys remember? Wasn't the first Iron Man like 2007?
2008. Yeah. 2008.
Yeah, man. Like 15 years. I think they're running out of ideas. And then another problem is, I think the whole time thing is going to be, I don't know. I think a lot of Marvel writers need to thank Christopher Nolan, because Christopher Nolan, I think, is one of those few directors that really knows how to tell a story about time. Like his whole universe, like from Memento to all.
Yeah.
I felt like this series, I don't know, not directly influenced, but definitely learned some things from Nolan on how to explain time and all these like grand like scientific ideas on the screen. Because, it has to make sense to us, right? So, I don't know. I hope they explain this well. Because, like, let me tell you something, Won-Jin. Like, the multiverse thing is still very confusing to me. I'm being totally honest. Like, I don't know, like, how that Kang War is supposed to work either.
Yeah. And how is this going to play out? I mean, from which movie will we start to kind of fathom the idea of the multiverse? Because we already saw a movie with the word multiverse in it. What's it called? Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And even after watching that, we're still quite unsure what's going on. And, oh, by the way, WandaVision was a great show. But like I said, it was also like a stepping stone to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
So here's the thing, Won-Jin. I agree with you completely. Up till now, we only seen movies called multiverses with the average of 2 verses or at most 3 verses coming together. Because Spider-Man had 3 verses because there were 3
Oh yeah, that's right.
But my question is, what happens when the verses truly become multi? Like there's 16 verses coming together. Like because that sounds exciting, but I feel like even let's say the runtime is 3 hours, right? that shit better make sense. And it has to be really innovative. Remember, like, even the Flash, that at most had 3 verses near the end, right? Because there was 3 Flashes at the end.
And then they just show you that brief, like, collision of universes.
Yeah. So, like, as an idea, I feel like it's really gonna hard to, like, put into, like, executable, like, plot screen. Like, that's the thing. But all I'm saying is, like, I hope they do well. Anyway, shall we give a number grade, my friend?
I think I would give this... I think I can give this a 10.
Wow! Yeah. Is that your first 10 this year, man?
I think... I mean, I was gonna, like, take a mark off because of, like, the Centuries Later thing. Because I kind of wish they had, like,
really?
one more episode.
I thought it was a great comedy.
Yeah, but other than that, I think there's really nothing that I can, like, bash about the show.
Yeah.
And I would be more than willing to watch it again.
Wow.
It was very well done.
Wow. I give it a 9. I give it a 9 because I really like the side characters, like Renslayer, and I did feel like they chose pacing really well, like really well. But I guess we're similar in the fact that you wanted more explanation for that. I wanted more explanation for something else.
ZZ, yeah, that's right. I gave 10 last time as well.
Which one did you give it to?
What did we talk about last week?
Gen
V, that's right, Gen V. Gen
Oh,
V
thank
also
you,
got a good
ZZ.
score. Yeah, that's right.
Oh shit! It looks like you got a number 1 fan one, yeah. But I give it a 9 because just like because of those things, like Renslayer and Miss Minutes. I was more interested in the multiverse too. Like, here's the thing, Won-Jin. If you really think about the time loom, I wonder if that makes sense though. Like, how are you able to visualize branches like that? I mean, I guess it's like a screen device for the audience, but I do wonder if that's like actually how we will see so-called timelines. You know what I mean? So, but then again, you know, sometimes Nolan overdoes it too, where I'll wish the opposite, right? Please don't explain anymore.
I mean, otherwise it becomes Tenet.
Yeah. So that's like little minor. Okay, you know what? I changed my mind. 9.5. I don't like to do 0.5. That's why I just chose 9. But I would say 9.5 because I had an amazing time, and I love the bravery where they would go dark places. You know how sometimes it's even more horrifying when there's no violence.
Yeah,
like that was the kind of the horror that this show brought. When Doc and they got crushed to death, not showing and the actors like showing their face, that was more terrifying. Yeah. Now send me those 10 smartphones. They remember. ZZ remembers. Yes, we remember too. It's all recorded. ZZ.
Yeah, it's because you said those stupid things.
I know. Did I? It's not your fault. You nodded along. Just kidding. Anyway, guys, that's our thoughts on Loki. If you guys want us to get into more different Marvel movies, even in the past, because we watched almost all of them, I think together. If you want us to talk about it, we will. So, Loki Season 2, if you have not watched it yet, please go watch it from Season 1 back to back. Hey, maybe we can watch it back to back and then talk about it again. Okay,
that's a good idea.
Or here's another idea. We can talk about every time-traveling series and movies.
Oh, that's also a great idea.
Because Won-Jin is a professor at Back to the Future. He really likes it. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. Before we end, I would like to again say that our stream starts every Saturday, KST, between 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. For our Korean podcast, we did have like our 30-minute, 2-hour talks.
Yeah, but then it kind of becomes difficult to watch when you see like the timestamp saying like an hour and 30 minutes. It's very difficult to click.
Yeah, I mean, but hey, since we have 25 loyal subscribers, if you guys want us to do that, we'll do that too. But next time, maybe with a different theme. Anyway, guys, have a great week. Thank you, ZZ, for tuning in. Thank you, Ichan Hong. We know that you're going to come watch this later. Thank you so much. This has been JoeJinMovieSoAwesome. I was Joe.
I was Won-Jin.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, ZZ. Bye.
Bye-bye.